Have you heard about white coat investor? Anyone? This is a fast-growing organization of doctors. And right now, it's almost 82,000 members in the United States. The mission of this organization is to promote financial literacy. Because during our medical school or even residency training, we lack financial literacy. We don't have any kind of education. And remember, we're trying to solicit funds, donations, but if we are financially literate, then you could give more to UST. Right? You'll not be burdened, a big burden, especially with high inflation. So that's why a group of doctors, they organize themselves. The founder is Dr. Jim Dunn, who is an ER physician. And now it's a 10-year, after we just celebrated the 10 years anniversary of this organization in Arizona. I was one of the speakers. And it's grown more than, and we expect it will grow more. And actually, this year, I just want to share the honor I got from the White Coat Investor. I was awarded the Financial Educator of the Year this year. I spoke with like thousands of American physicians to share my financial knowledge. But that's what I have to share to my kababayan, especially my alumni. So, this is one of the treasures which Dr. Joe Evangelista would like us to share. My treasure of financial literacy, I'm going to share to Usman. Okay?
Very good. Very good.
So the knowledge may be priceless because it may grow, alright? Okay. So I mentioned earlier, one of my proposals is to have a separate USMA investment fund, totally separate from the foundation. We'll start from the ground up. We don't need millions or $100,000. I hate to mention this, but Tambo, I started with $1,000, and now it's almost $500,000, and we're towards the $1 million track. We don't need those because of the donor fatigue. We just have to collect small dollar donation, like grassroots, like the politicians. You need to encourage those members to be involved. They don't need to donate thousands of dollars, even $10, $20, but the collective funds that we could do for it, if we could invest efficiently and cost effectively, then we could reach our goal. So what will the goal of this investment fund? Finance the operational and convention expenses. You see how I look at it, if we're going to spend 25, 30, or $30,000 dollars per year, it's not going to be sustainable. USMA needs to be self-sufficient and not rely on the foundation to operate the USMA.
Oh, wait.
No, yeah.
Or yeah.
USMA has never, the foundation do not give money to USMA.
Exactly, that's what I'm
saying. It's the other way around.
Okay, exactly, that's what I'm saying. It should be self-sustaining, which is good to hear, okay? But the purpose really is to be independent, okay? If they're spending that kind of money in operating the organization, we need to find something that can be self-sufficient, not rely on just the donation or convention income, okay? Then we could also support medical mission, and some of that would be scholarship program. Those are just goals, okay? It may change, okay? And now I realize we have a separate IRS number of USMA, which is good, which means it's an independent body or organization that they fund their classes separately from the foundation. And it's also tax deductible. Whatever you donate the USMAAA is also tax deductible. Okay? All right. So, what will be the proposed brokerage? As you know,
Wait, correction.
yes.
Go back. The membership to the foundation is $5,000.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Actually, it's not even $5,000. It's $1,000. You're a member of the foundation. You become a benefactor if you're a $5,000 donor. If you are a $25,000 donor, you become a permanent member of the board.
I see. Thank you for the clarification. Yes.
Stella, excuse me, before the 25,000, if you are in your personal, if you want to be a permanent board member, not representing an organization, we should donate 25, like I should donate 25,000
Okay.
to be
That's correct.
Yeah.
A class, a chapter, or an individual can become a permanent member of the board by donating $25,000. It could be, as I said, could be a class 65, class is 68. If you want to be an individual member from 1,000 to 5,000, are an individual member. If you give $5,000, you become a benefactor, and your name will be etched in the Wall of Honor in the UST Medicine Building, there to remain in perpetuity. I think for legacy purposes and maybe to show your
Is there still Wall of Honor?
Yes, there is. Yes,
I
there is.
hope they will not remove that.
No, that's never going to be removed. If the USDFMS transfers, we also transfer. I'm
In fact,
sorry.
it's much better, it's modernized.
It's in the lobby now of the USD Medicine Building.
Put the tree of life.
The Tree of Life, we're going to put it back. What happened to the... I'm sorry to divert. For just
No
a
problem,
minute.
yes.
Let me just answer that. That's an important question. The Tree of Life were donations of $500 and up. No, individual donations. So each one who donated $500 had a name in place in a tree and a leaf. When they remodeled a part of the outpatient clinic, they removed the Tree of Life because they painted, I don't know, the real story, but it's not there anymore when we went there. And I asked the late Miss Isadora Lee, she said, oh, it was broken or whatever. I said, well, you have to put it back, you know. And so Father, I don't know what happened because nobody can tell me where it is. But if it's somewhere, please put it back. If not, we will just go ahead and replace the Tree of Life. You know, we'll pay for it. Doesn't matter. But I think it's important that it goes back up.
Yeah, Dr. Estela made an inquiry through an email regarding the Tree of Life. And I asked my director for administration to look for it. About 2 weeks ago, before flying here, we were able to finally retrieve it. It's in a stock room by the first floor of the UST Clinical Division. But the problem is that because of the flooding and improper storage, all the names, including the Tree of Life, it's actually broken.
Okay.
So there's no way that we could put it up again unless we make a new one.
Yes.
I'm sorry, but I have to make it clear that these things happened during the past administration. I have to keep referring back to them. And we all agree that we are not bad-mouthing anybody. It's just the reality. It happened during the previous administration, and my hands are tied. I could not do anything about it unless just to move forward from it.
We understand, Father. So basically, there were also other plaques that were removed. But trust me, we are going forward. We want to replace all those plaques. Like USTMAAA Tri-State renovated the emergency room. That's going to go back. USTMAAA Tri-State chapter during the time of Angie Jaurego. The emergency room, the surgical lab, the surgical the surgery center was also renovated during, I forgot, Usma Midwest, I think. But anyway, we will do our best to replace all those plaques that were removed, and we will put them back. And you can tell all the members of the other classes who complained also. Yes,
One
ma'am.
more question. I'm glad you're here, Madam. How do you reconcile the visionary year in this board with the culture in the Philippines? One good example is the cardiac cath. We envision that you will be the first one to have a cardiac cath in the Philippines, and this was in 1992. We donated, I came home to the Philippines, gave $10,000 seed money, then George Garcia gave $80,000 and the foundation $200,000. Our vision was you open the cardiac cath to anyone who is properly credentialed, board certified, because cardiac cath would bring money to the hospital. What did you do? It was controlled by one person. One person who never donated, who didn't take enough patient, and what happened? You lost money. So how do you reconcile the vision here with the vision in the Philippines with your culture?
Okay, Dr. Bill, Father Factoro will answer that in his report. Okay, it will be answered, he promises. Okay, Steve, let's finish.
All right. Well, thank you for clarification,
Yeah.
and I apologize if I being a new member of this group. But my point is this: I'm going to propose a separate brokerage firm for USMA. Okay, it's quite different from the foundation how they manage their investment. I see with the foundation. We have the Raymond James. My proposed brokerage would be Vanguard. Market cap, Raymond James is a publicly traded company. So they have at least approximately $19 billion cap. Vanguard is a private one. Okay, you cannot own Vanguard. You cannot buy a share of Vanguard. But the asset under management of Raymond James is 1.18, but Vanguard has $7.1 trillion. You may not realize, maybe your 401k, Vanguard is managing your investment. Then they have a different philosophy in terms of investment strategy. Raymond James is an active management. Vanguard is a passive management. Okay? And I will explain the difference. How about advisory fees? Because they're active management, advisory fee will be 1% at least. But Vanguard is not, 0. Alright, so what would be the investment policy statement of USMA? Time horizon, also in perpetuity. Okay? We're not going to withdraw any kind of capital investment. The return objective would be long-term capital appreciation. How about the spending policy? Only dividends will be disbursed. Asset class. This is a quite different in terms of allocation. Equities would be 80%, fixed income would be 20%. Investment style, just like I said, passive investing, brokerage firm, Vanguard, fees, free commission, all advisory fees will be donated to USMA. So there's nothing, no overhead expenses in terms of managing this part of the fund. Alright, what is Vanguard? Are you familiar with Vanguard? The founder is Jack Bogle, okay? And this is a famous quote from Jack Bogle. Don't look for the needle in the haystack. Just buy the haystack. Okay, it's a very famous quote. It was founded in 1975, and just like I said, currently by 2021, asset management would be 7.1 trillion. Vanguard is owned by the funds themselves, with each fund contributing a set amount of capital towards shared management, marketing, and distribution services. You may realize you cannot see any branches, local branches in your home state of Vanguard. Everything done electronically through internet. Okay? Next, the main thing about their strategy is index fund philosophy. Alright, so this is the proposed one. You're just going to allocate into 3: stocks and bonds, and then cash. So how do we allocate it? In stocks, we'll just choose US companies, not international companies. And then 2 major index funds will be the total stock market index and the S&P 500 index. So why 2 equities? One equity, like the total stock market, the purpose, anything that invested here, all the dividends will be reinvested to buy more shares. So it will continue to grow. How about the dollar amount with the S&P 500? The dividends earned will go to the cash, and that will be the part that we could use to fund any kind of, like, the operation of USTMAAA, or if you want to sponsor a medical mission. Now, how about bonds? We will select 2 types of bonds. One is the total bond market, and the other one, because remember, with the high inflation, we will allocate a portion of the cash to a short-term inflation-protected securities. Okay? This is very useful, especially those who are the retirees, okay? Should be part of your portfolio during the retiree stage. And then cash reserve will go to the money market fund. Okay? It has higher dividend compared to just in a check or in a CD or cash. Cost. That's very important. We always think about cost. So let's look at the cost of these index funds. Remember, we're just going to select 4 index funds. 2 for the stocks, 2 for the bonds. So total stock market index. Remember, this one index fund, it has already a well-diversified stocks, including large cap, mid cap, small cap. When they say large cap, large companies, small companies, small cap. You see the net asset of this one index fund? $1.2 trillion. This is the world's largest index fund. So, I know everybody's scared now when the market is down, but educating yourself, you will be more confident in investing. Okay? So, what's the ERS expense ratio? How much does it cost to invest in total market index? It's 0.03%. It's just 3 cents per thousand. And now imagine one index fund, you already invested, it's a collection of stocks of more than 4,000. Remember, one index fund, you already own more than 4,000 of stocks. Alright, how about the S&P 500? This consists of just large companies. There's no small companies. How much is the net asset? $763 billion. And then expense ratio the same, and then more than 500 companies. So one basket of S&P 500, you already have 500 stocks. How about bonds? Bonds is just providing you fixed income. So any dividend earned with the total bond market will go to the cash reserve, and that's the one we're going to spend and utilize for our projects. You see, it's more than 200 billion, and then expense ratio is like minimal. And you see how many bonds in one index fund? More than 10,000. So, and the fourth one, see, it's a simple investing. It's a short-term inflation protected securities. This is government securities. That's why it's protected. You see, if the government promise you to pay something, what they will do is to raise your taxes. And that way they'll get back your capital investment. That's why it's protected, because government, they're free to increase your taxes, and you have nothing can be done, okay, to pay their investor We are the investor in a way. But then, they will have quarterly dividend. You're going to have dividends. Again, that dividend will be transferred to the cash reserve. All right, so what are the top 10 companies on these stocks? For the total stock market index, you see almost the same. You will already own Apple, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, including Tesla. And you see NVIDIA, and the same with S&P 500. These are the largest trillion-dollar companies. So how can you get wrong with that? You have fully capitalized index fund. So if the market tanks, I mean, you're still going to earn dividends. That's the key. Continuous and dividend distribution of all these index funds. And now, this is the latest study between active investing and index fund investing. You see the growth of index fund? It's now, by the year of this year, they already overtook the active investment. This is the legacy of Jack Bogle, a strategy of cost-efficient indexing strategy of investing. Why? Because of the costs. They're not paying any hedge fund manager because it costs a lot. If, for example, I'm retired, now when the market is down, if I have an advisor, I still have to pay him. Sharing my dividend with my advisor costs me a lot. If I could just choose 4 index fund, it's just like depositing your money to a bank and let it grow and you just receive your dividend. Dividend only without paying any additional overhead. Everyone thinks we need to think about overhead expenses. And then this is my last slide, famous quote from Warren Buffett. The best thing to do is buy 90% in an S&P 500 index fund. This was during his annual shareholder meeting just recently. Thank you.